following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Baseball season is right around the corner, and the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast and SeatGeek are on a 30-day tour with fans from around the major leagues. Listen in as we talk about where to get a bite or a beverage pre- and post-game, best place to sit at every ballpark, favorite food, favorite players, and favorite moments from all 30 stadiums from around the big leagues. It's the 1420 Fan Experience Ballpark Tour, brought to you by SeatGeek. Let's get into it. All right, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast and the Major League Baseball Fan Experience all wrapped into one on this Thursday night. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app today to save yourself $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek.com today. Little change of plans tonight. Our usual Thursday show, a little bit different tonight, obviously. No 1420 day tonight. He's off at a curling bonspiel. For those of you who are American listeners, watchers now on YouTube or on YouTube. A bonspiel is a curling tournament, so that's where Dave is tonight, so he couldn't join us. I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but I figured I would get this one kind of out of the way now because I got a bunch of other ones lined up to do, interviews to do in the next few days coming up, so I might as well get my Yankee Stadium tour out of the way. I hope to get somebody else. I actually have a few people lined up maybe to do a group show or something to talk about Yankee Stadium and everything else that occurs around the big ballpark in the Bronx. But I wasn't going to do one tonight. That I figured, why not come on, give the people what they want and everything else. And it keeps me out of trouble too, as to sit in front of this thing and talk to you guys tonight on YouTube Live, the whole bit. So thank you very much for everybody who's watching the show tonight and everybody's listening later on. Thank you very much for listening to the 1420 Major League Baseball Fan Experience Tour. This is the 11th stop on the tour. We had a great one yesterday in Toronto, staying in the American League East, and with my beloved New York Yankees. Anyways, the first time I went was September 7th, 8th, and 9th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th of 2013. I was on a bit of a tour of ballparks for a long time, going here and going there, and I never thought about going to the East Coast very much. Didn't know much about it. I knew that the Yankees played in the Bronx and the like and everything else, but I didn't know much about the East Coast. I haven't ventured out that way ever in my life, and I kind of figured, well, you know what, I'm a Yankee guy. Why not get out to the big ballpark in the Bronx and get it all figured out? And then when I travel, I try not to do too much research on like ballpark chasers and different websites that are out there. I try not to think myself into things. I like to go and learn a little bit about the area, about the ballpark, and figure out things on my own and where to sit and what everything to do. Listen to the odd podcast like the 1420 Fan Experience and get that thing straightened out. But I like to do things on my own and figure stuff out. So I didn't know anything about where it'll land or nothing. Two airports in New York City, obviously with LaGuardia and JFK, but I flew in the overnight flight. I actually watched the Yankees Red Sox game on a Thursday night at a airport bar, Kelsey's there in Calgary, and then I flew overnight. I got into New York City at about, I think she was about 9-10 in the morning. Didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go. Asked the girl at the concierge, I guess, at the airport. I think that's what they're called. People, the help desk, we'll just call them. And I figured I just asked, hey, how do I get to the Bronx? How do I get to Yankee Stadium? I got a tour. I'm booked for at 1:30, 2 o'clock, or whatever it was. So I got to get there in the next 3 hours. So I have some time. She said, just take a cab. It's the easiest way. It's probably the cheapest, and it might not be the cheapest, but it's the easiest way to get there, instead of jumping on this thing and jumping on that thing and connections the whole bit. So I jumped in a cab, and it was quite easy. Yeah, it was, the guy took my stuff, and I was all Yankeed up, ready to go to the big ballpark in the Bronx the first time ever, not knowing what I was getting myself into. I had a hotel booked in the Bronx. We'll get to that in a little bit later, but I was staying. So we get close, and you can see the ballpark and everything else, and it was pretty busy for a night game. They were playing the Red Sox for a weekend series. I had tickets the whole bit. Like I said, the tour was booked. I didn't know anything about it. I knew there was a few places around that I wanted to go and see and everything else. And but I didn't know anything about anything. And that's the honest to God truth. I knew nothing. Anyways, I get to 161st and River, and I'm not knowing what to do. I have my great big suitcase, more so to bring a bunch of stuff back than stuff that I took, because that was a kind of was my plan, was to spend a couple of bucks, get souvenirs and stuff that I still have to this day down here in the Yankee Tavern North. So I was quite excited to have all that stuff ready to go and everything else. So it was a it was a learning experience, like I said, and I was quite happy that I went, or that I got to go anyway. So I get down there to the Bronx, and next thing I know, I'm the cabbie. He says something and whatever. He just says, "Hey, I'm not getting any closer. Can I just drop you off here?" Perfect. I look over my left shoulder, and right in front of me was the Yankee Tavern, like the actual Yankee Tavern, not the Yankee Tavern that I stayed in downstairs doing this show for you guys on a daily basis, but the Yankee Tavern. And I thought, wow, that's the place for me. That's where I'm going to go first. And it was, I don't know, 10:30 in the morning, whatever it was. And so I roll in there. I still have my suitcase on, and or with me and the like, and I sit down and order a Bud Light, and this guy with a heavy accent, he comes and starts talking to me. We're BSing a little bit. He's a bigger guy, and we're talking a little bit. Then an older gentleman, he comes over and he starts talking to me, and he says, "You're from Canada, right?" I said, "Yeah." "How do you know?" He goes, "Well, your accent." I said, "Well, I don't have an accent really. Like, I sound more like Matt Lauer." This was Matt Lauer before all the stuff happened. But so turns out this guy, he's from close to Canada. Name's Tony is the guy's name, and he lived close to the Manitoba border. And so we started talking. I told him where my father was originally from, which was Beulah, Manitoba, small little town. And then he said he played hockey, and we started talking a little bit. And I said, "Yeah, my cousins build Lego, the Toronto Maple Leafs." And he says, "I'm a big Leafs guy, big Leafs fan. I remembers Billy D from back in the day." So we had a pretty instant connection. Everybody knows somebody in Canada. It's just one of those things, right? You talk to enough people, something's bound to stick, right? You throw them shit in the wall. So anyways, Tony starts telling me about things that he knew about my family and the like. So we start talking. We have a really good conversation. And I don't think I paid for a beer for the first little bit that we were talking there. Tip pretty good, obviously. And then as we're saying our goodbyes, because I had my tour to go to, John, the bigger guy with the pretty heavy accent, he gives me a Bronx tip. It's a tip everywhere. It's one of those things. But he says to me, "Hey, if you come back here after the game, the prices increase quite a bit, but I'll give you a deal." So of course I throw a 20 down on the bar as I'm leaving, and he played me for the tourist that I am, but it worked later on, so it was quite funny. Anyway, so as I was like, Jesus, what am I going to do here? I have my bag here. I have my big suitcase on roller wheels. I can't take it into the stadium with me. So as I'm walking down 161st Ave there, I just like, Jesus, what the fuck am I going to do with my suitcase? Anyways, I go by, get close to this souvenir shop, Yankee Souvenirs, obviously, like tons of jerseys and hats and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. There's a little hole in the wall that's right beside Billy's. We'll get to Billy's in a second. We'll talk about that. But anyway, so I roll into this place, and there's this crusty old guy, and he didn't look like he was too happy. I said, "Hey, can I just keep my bag here for like 2-3 hours?" He says, $20. I'm like, "Okay, man, like whatever. Like, how big is it?" So I showed him. He's like, "I don't know how we didn't see it." And so he goes, $20. I said, "Okay, here you go." And then he thanked me, and we shook hands and laughed and smiled. But anyways, so come back. So I go to this tour, and it was a good tour. Like, it was fun. It was good. It was a knowledgeable little thing. I think everybody who goes to Yankee Stadium for the first time, they should go to it. You see some inside, outside things. You see some different things, and you get to go to the museum, Monument Park. I sat in the Yankees dugout, and I took my first selfie ever in the dugout at Yankee Stadium, at the Yankees dugout. I never sent it. I never published it because it looked ridiculous. I looked really bad. So I never sent that out there. I think I deleted it not that many years ago, actually. It stayed on my phone for quite some time on the iCloud or whatever it's called. But so I went on the tour. It was good. As we're doing the tour, the younger kid, he was telling us that he got a World Series ring from 2009, which is, that not that long before, because I was 2013 when I was there. And so he's answered a bunch of questions about Yankee Stadium and everything else, and the new place and the old place and everything else. And one of the other guys on the tour that was with us, he says something along the lines of, "Are the dimensions the same in the ballpark?" And this tour guide, he says, "Well, yeah, it's 90 feet between the bases." And I'm like, "Holy shit, kid." Like, I didn't say anything out loud, but I was like, "Yeah, man, like this is the kind of the way it actually goes. And this is the way it all turns out." Yeah, man, we know that it's 90 feet, but like, are the dimensions the same? The fences, the foul territory, is that all the same? And he didn't really know. But then one guy that was also on the tour, he goes, yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same deal here. So he kind of had an idea what we were talking about. So, okay, I misunderstood. So it was a great tour. Went to the museum. If you get a chance to go in the museum, it's fantastic. They have the Don Larson, the Yogi Berra pitch trajectory for the very last pitch of the perfect game that he threw in the World Series. So that's there, and it's filled with baseballs. Thurman Munson's lockers inside there. So make sure if you go, you get to go in there. It's a great piece of Yankee history if you're a Yankee fan. And if you look out the windows there, you can see where the old stadium was across the street. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can see inside the Yankee Museum. It's a fantastic, free of charge. You walk in, have a good time, and go around. Monument Park. I think I said it the other day on. I can't remember what show I was doing. It was the guy from. Brian from the Injured List podcast, from talking with the Mets. I talk about Monument Park. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a bunch of plaques. Like, it's okay, but you're out in center field, so you can see everything. Go once, but don't make it a habit. If there's a big lineup, I wouldn't bother. It's just one of those things. Go on YouTube and watch it on there. It's okay, but the museum is really cool with a lot of great memorabilia in there and a lot of great memories. So that's my advice. That's my first. Well, not my first, but one of my things of advice to you when you stay or when you go to a Yankee game. It's one of those things. So yeah, so that's my little story about going to a Yankee game for the first time, and it was in the Bronx. It was a Friday afternoon before a game. I shouldn't say it was a mistake, because that's kind of a crappy thing to say, that it was a mistake staying in the Bronx, because it was a different experience, to say the least. But before I went out to my hotel, my bag was still in storage, and I heard about this place called Stan's. So Stange is on 161st or River. It's on River. It's on River Ave. So I went down there. Place is pretty empty. It was only about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But there was already a buzz building up around Yankee Stadium a little bit. There was people coming in off the trains, and a little bit going on for a 7 o'clock start. It was starting to pick up a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but I rolled in the Stands. I had a few beers. This place is going to be all right. So I had a couple of beers at Stands. I kind of made it a mental note where to go. So I don't know. I was 4 beer deep by that point, I guess. Not too bad. It's, over 4 or 5 hours, whatever. It's pretty calm. So I go get my bag from that crusty old guy, and turns out he wasn't crusty. Super nice guy. And throughout the rest of the weekend, whenever I walked by, and then every time I went by, after that for years, he always waved at me and said hello. I can't remember the name of the store, but it was right in between. It was right beside the Dunkin' Donuts and the Red Apple Bank right there. So when you go there was a store there. It didn't survive the COVID situation that we went through. It succumbed to it. We went there last year to say hi to the guy, and he wasn't there anymore. So we left our bag elsewhere this time around. But he was a great old guy, and he always smiled, and I waved every time. He waved every time, and you start to make friends around River Avenue and everything, and 161st. So anyways, I start walking down. I got my bag with me, and I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to be going or what I'm going to be doing. But I decide to, well, here we go. I'm going down to the Bronx. I'm walking. Might as well just walk. It said it was a 10-minute walk down to the Days Inn Bronx Yankee Stadium. Days Inn must seem all right. So I'm walking. And I'm towing my suitcase behind me, and I keep going, and I keep going, I keep going. And I finally get there. And when I get there, it's a little bit different Days Inn than what I'm used to up here in Western Canada. So it was kind of a funny situation there, where I did get to see the Bronx. I was walking, and it got a little bit shadier, like something I'm just not used to, being a small kid from a small town in southern Alberta. It was a little bit different, but it was fine. It was fine. But when I get into the lobby, of course, there's a bulletproof glass there and the whole bit and everything else. I'm like, holy Christ, what the hell did I get myself into? So there was another couple there. I think they're from Iowa, if I recall correctly. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? So anyways, got checked in, the whole bit. And this was before you would get your tickets sent to your phone, and I didn't print them out yet, because I just figured I'd do it at the hotel thing. And of course, they didn't have a printer there, and oh Christ, what are we gonna do? But the girl behind the bulletproof glass, she helped me out. Checked in the room, fine, good. put my different jersey on or whatever I was wearing. Went to walk back to the stadium, and that's when by the time I got back there, I know it was about 4:30, quarter to 5, and first stop, of course, if you've been there, if you went when you go, this is my pregame routine has evolved over the years, but this is what I like to. This is what I did that first night. So I go in the tavern, have a couple of beers there, and of course, John, it's full, it's packed in there. Like, it's 5 o'clock, it's packed before a Yankee game. To this day, every time you go by there now, and the new renovations look fantastic. I do miss the old place a little bit, how it was a little bit grungier and dirtier and everything, and the like, but. But it was you missed that. But the new renovations are fantastic, and the guys there did a wonderful job post COVID to make that place up and viable again. But anyways, so you go in there. I had a few beers and packed, and I think I paid like $12 or something. So I gave John that tip, and I had 2-3 beers, whatever it was. You go in there. It's prices are pretty expensive. There's $10 a beer. It depends who's working. Sometimes they give you your change back. Sometimes they don't. It's a different situation around the Yankee Tavern and the like. So I went there. Okay, I don't want to get stuck in one place. So I could have sat there all night long and not even went to the game. But anyways, I go to the game. I go. I leave the tavern, which I have this. That's my first stop to this day. Every time I go to a Yankee game, no matter if the first game of the series, the third game of the series, or whatever it may be. Then I went to Stan's. Well, Stan's was absolutely rocking. It was an unbelievable time. Like, the place is just crazy. Young and old people having a great time. It was something to behold, and I couldn't believe what was going on in there. It was just like it was a scene. Yankee fans, Red Sox fans were getting along arm in arm. It was good because the Yankees were out of it by that point. Didn't have really hope in hell. It was Mariano's last year. Last 2 years of and then Jeter was 14. But it was 2013 was Mariano's last year, and Jeter was barely playing at that point. But so we go to the I go there and we have a good time, have a few beers. I said, well, I better get inside the ballpark, maybe catch something. I don't want to be stuck in bars all the time. There's bars in Southern Alberta I can go and check out. So anyway, so I go. I'm walking down River Ave, and I see Bald Vinny's House of Teas. I heard of Bald Vinny, the Bleacher Creatures, of course. I heard about them, and that's where I was sitting the second day. So the king of the Bleacher Creatures, he has the Bald Vinny's House of Teas right in front of Billy's. So I said, hey, Vin, how's it going? He smiled and nodded and laughed, and ha. We kind of had a bit of a quick conversation. He asked me to go in the game. So now he doesn't go very much anymore. We'll get to that in a bit too. But I look inside. I said, well, this is Billy's place. I go in there, and she's a freaking nightclub, man. Like, it was something to behold. I was like, holy Christ, this is something else. Because I was, it's 10 years ago all of a sudden. So I was 38, and I'm not really a nightclub guy back then. So I went in, but before the game, it was just a bunch of Yankee fans, younger crowd, having a good time, drinking beers, TVs everywhere, and it was fantastic. Have one in there, and he said, well, I bet I'm going to go to the game now. So I go into the Yankee Stadium. I go through gate 6, and it was lined up a little bit. Security was pretty heavy, but not too bad. And it was walk in, because I had been on the tour already, so there wasn't many early surprises. I kind of had an idea where to go, how to get around, and the like. So that was a good thing to get that little experience. I recommend whatever ballpark people go to make sure you do get to stop you go to the tour, because it's a great thing to get yourself acquainted with the stadium and everything that goes with the stadium and the like. It can be a bit intimidating no matter where you go, and it's one of those things you don't know what to do and the whole bit. But it was quite a great experience going there for the first time. The first time I went to, it was Yankees ended up losing 13-8 or something stupid. It was ridiculous. They lost 2 out of 3 that series, but it was fun. And then so inside the stadium you go. That weekend, I sat in some different spots. I sat in the second deck for a little bit. I had some really good seats. The third day, I sat in section, I think it was 114B. It was great, but over the years, I found that my seats and our seats now, that Deanne's been coming with me for a while now. My brother's been coming. My sister's been down there with me, sitting in section 103, just down from the Bleacher Creatures, in 203. You get to participate in the roll call where they do the players' names and the like and everything else. It's probably one of my favorite parts of a pregame. And no matter where you're sitting in the stadium, you do get to hear everything about. You do hear the Bleacher Creatures and their roll call and how it overtakes the stadium a little bit, and it's a really cool thing, the roll call that they have there. So section 103, and I'll talk about that in a second. There were some baseballs flew out there. One of my favorite moments getting there, and it's such a great spot. The ballpark eats are really they're I don't want to say pedestrian, but they're pretty pedestrian. Like you got your Nathan's hot dogs, but there is this one place, Rolls or Coles, or I can't remember what the hell the name of the place is, but it's out in left field, and it's a butcher shop that they have out there, and they make these steak sandwiches. They're just fantastic, and they freshly slice the meat down there for the buffet downstairs for the Legend Suite. We'll talk about that in a second. But the beer and the eats are good. The one that I really like to have, and they have it all at most of the bars around the stadium now, is Blue Point Pinstripe Pilsner. It's fantastic beer. It's not too crafty, but it's all around the stadium. It's everywhere you go. Beer in the stadium is quite expensive. You can find some different pricing for beers here and there, but it's quite expensive. But that Pinstripe Pinstripe Pilsner by Blue Point's fantastic beer. It tastes really good. And if you're going to be part of Yankee Stadium, you might as well be part of Yankee Stadium and have a Yankee themed beer, right? So it was really quite good. No, the things have changed. Like the funny thing is about the Yankee Stadium is the more you go, the more your routine changes a little bit, and you have some different things and different stuff that you do. My like I said, my game time routine is changed over the years a little bit. We don't get down as much as we used to. Obviously, yeah, we still stop at the tavern. We still stop at stands and the like. Don't get into Billy's a whole bunch anymore because I found this new way to get into the stadium. If you go and to avoid the lineup at gate 6, well, if you go all the way around, I think it's gate 8. I think it is. It's all the way around. If you go there, there's never a lineup back there. But a better way to get inside the stadium, I found, if you get inside the Hard Rock, I know that's cliche and everything else and touristy, but if you get inside the Hard Rock pregame, and it's fantastic. Great memorabilia, so like at Rock memorabilia, Yankees memorabilia. Actually, last time we went down there, we tried on some World Series rings, which was kind of neat. It was a really neat experience. They had the cupboard open for whatever reason, and the general manager of the Hard Rock said, "Hey, do you guys want to put these World Series rings on?" I'm like, holy Christ, they were big rocks. And then we sent those pictures out on Instagram or whatever it was, and friends of mine were saying it's on the wrong ring or on the wrong finger because they were expecting me to put one on Deanne's finger that week because it was her 40th birthday week and we went down there, but that never happened. But anyways, when you sit in a Hard Rock, you can have a few beers, and beers are a little bit cheaper in there, which is strange for the Hard Rock because no matter where you go across this great land of ours, Hard Rock beers seem to be a little more expensive. But you go inside, and there's an entrance inside the Hard Rock that gets you into the stadium as well. So you don't have to go back in through gate 6 in the lineup that weaves in and out. And it seems like there's one little security guy. He sits there, he wands you down, you walk through the thing, you're in, out, done, bing, bang, boom. You go at your leisure. You can have your beer in your hand. They give you a plastic cup if it's still full, and you go through. I think that's the best way to get into the stadium. I don't say it's the best kept secret, but it's a great secret that I've acquired over the years on how to get into the stadium. And that's been a new part of my game day routine to not stand in lines because I'm getting old. Don't like standing in lines. You want to get in somewhere and have a good time. And once you don't want to waste time standing in line. You only got X amount of hours on your vacation, right? So that's part of the game day routine. I highly recommend doing that. It's one of the great things. Get back to where to stay. Years ago, like I said, the first time I was down there, I stayed in the Bronx, walking back and forth. I think I stayed there twice actually, which was strange. I didn't learn my lesson the first time. It's all walking distance, right? 10, 12 minutes, I think it was. I walk really fast, but it was 10, 12 minutes to get to the stadium, walking down 161st there. And so yeah, anyways, but I've found this new place. It's on 79th and 7th. It's called the Manhattan. It's a great hotel just around the corner from Radio City Music Hall and not too far from Times Square, and a really close walk to Central Park. It sounds a bit touristy, but everything is right there. Like it's really close, and there's a subway stop that's just maybe half a block away that you can get on. The subway's the easiest place to get to the stadium, but the Manhattan at Times Square, it's called. They're right next door to there. Rosie O'Grady's my brother's favorite bar when we go. So when you go to New York and you stay at the Manhattan, Rosie's is right next door, and it's not touristy. There's a lot of little hole in the wall bars around there too, New York style kind of places. Yeah, you can go to touristy spots when you get into Times Square, but I highly recommend if you're a Yankee person is to stay at the Manhattan because it's the easiest way to get to and from the ballpark because right around the corner like I said, is the subway, and then the subway stop. I just get on the D train. You get down, go down go down. Make sure you go down two flights of stairs, and it's the one on the right hand side when you go down, and you go out there on the D, and it heads right to Manhattan, and or to the Bronx, and it's about a 28-minute ride from Manhattan to the Bronx, and it's fun when you get on the train. What depends what time you go. Like I always go pretty early. I like to go for a few beers, like I said, and it's one of those things that you have that you go and more and more people start getting on the train, and you're going the right direction. And the first time I took the train, I didn't really know where I was going. Yeah, the people, they kind of help you out, say, it's on the D train, whatever, just go. And you're kind of nervous on where to go and how to get there, but when you see more and more people piling on the train, you get a sense of relief that I'm on the right spot where I got to go. So that's one thing of Manhattan, and more Yankee fans get on, and then it's a big 161st River right there. As you look out the subway windows, you go up the stairs and you see the greatest or the big ballpark in the Bronx. It's not the greatest, but it's my favorite, right? One of those things. So you get there, and it's all right there. Everything's right around you. It's a big neighborhood, and everybody's having a good time. It's something to behold when you first go up those steps. And every time you go up there, for me, anyways, every time I go up those stairs, a big smile comes across my face, and you get that last set of stairs, and there's the guys trying to buy tickets, and you can smell the caramel corn in the corner and everything else. There's McDonald's across the street if you want, and the like. So, and then your game day routine starts. So it's such a great experience going to that big ballpark in the Bronx, and you always have a really good time going. And like I said, you find your different seats, and you have some place where you want to go and everything else. But that's a place that I also recommend to go to, maybe for a pregame or a postgame beer, is the dugout. Right inside there. Maybe more of a postgame thing if you have a hankering, but or a pregame if you're drinking all day. Who knows? But there's a Taco Bell right inside there, a Taco Bell window right inside the dugout, and it's right across the street from Yankee Stadium. And it smells like bleach in there, but that tells you that it's clean, right? So you go in there and it's fine, it's good, and you have a great time in there. And the people are always really friendly. The staff is friendly, and it's actually everywhere around there. Everybody's seems really friendly, and everybody gets along pretty well. But yeah, go in the dugout, have a few beers. Beers are a little bit cheaper than stands, not a whole bunch, but yeah, they're a little cheaper than stands, a little cheaper than a tavern. But they do have that Taco Bell right inside there to a pickup window. You can guess what's Taco Bell, like all you can eat for $4, whatever. It's a little more expensive now than it used to be, but that's another part of the game day routine around the stadium that you can take part in. It's there's lots of good that goes around Yankee Stadium. The Yankee fans aren't as bad as people think they are. Yeah, you got obnoxious ones. You got obnoxious fans everywhere you go. They're a very passionate fan base. Of course, I might be a bit biased because of the fact that I'm a Yankee guy and you wear their Yankee hat. But I've only ever had trouble with Blue Jay fans there, actually. Red Sox fans have been good. I've only ever had, like I said, I've only ever had trouble with Blue Jay fans there for whatever reason. It's just a funny thing. If you ever get a chance, the one place, and I've been in there twice, is I went once with my brother, and that's a funny story too. But the one time I went down there, I went down to the Legend Suite. I found some tickets on. It's actually SeatGeek. I wouldn't waste the promo code 1420barn at SeatGeek.com today, because they can get a little bit expensive. But I found a really good bargain for the Legend Suite down there, and it was the first time I went. It was a night game on. Jesus, I can't remember what year it was. 2015. It was my third trip down there, and found some good seats for the Friday night game. I was there Thursday through Sunday, so I went to 4 games, and I went into Legend Suite, and it was, I don't know, $250 or something. Doesn't much matter how much it costs, but I went in. They give you a wristband, so you know you're allowed down there. And I went down there, and I didn't know what to do. And then there was this really nice lady who worked there, and she looked at me. She goes, "You don't know what you're doing, do you?" I said, I don't have a clue." She goes, "It's all free. Have whatever you want. The only thing you have to pay for is your beer." Perfect. Whatever. Good. Done. So then the food there, I could have eaten there for hours, and I would have got my money worth. Like for like a restaurant in Manhattan, compared to what that was, that spread was unbelievable. Plus the seat that you got, and the food was unbelievable. The concessions were it was all right at your fingertips. Whatever you wanted throughout the game, the dessert trays and ice cream and all you can eat popcorn and pop and all of it. So if you ever get a chance to sit in the Legend Suite, I'm sure it's that way way at all ballparks, but it's one of those places you can go and have a good time, and the people aren't pretentious at all. From what I found, the restaurant was a little bit busy. More people are sitting in there getting their money's worth of all the food. They're coming out to watch the game, so that's why those seats always look so empty. Trust me, there's people downstairs. So people who are watching Yankee games and say that there's no fans there, they're downstairs eating that spread. Like it says on the screen right here, if you're watching on YouTube tonight, thank you for those who are. Crowd legs as far as the eye can see, man. Like, and they got different tables, different cuisines all over the place, different foods, all, and it's not just ballpark food, which they do have down there as well. But if you get a chance to go, and then the year after, the first time my brother went with me, so I would have been there. It was 16. The first time my brother went with me in 2017, for a Blue Jays series. We once again it was a Friday afternoon game, so there was lots of tickets left, and we were sitting in the tavern. We had some seats to sit out in the bleachers, whatever, and we just went on StubHub or SeatGeek, whatever it was, as we were sitting there, and figured, well, I just browse around. We found a really good deal on Legend Suite tickets, and they're playing the Blue Jays. And for those who are listening and watching the United States, every Blue Jays game right across the country is on Sportsnet. So we had some really good seats that were right behind home plate, about 4 rows up, I think, and the text messages were going off about people watching the game back home, back in Canada, back in Alberta. And a friend of mine, Moose Hildebrand, he was watching the game. And he told me to put my head back on, or my hat back on, because the glare off of my dome that's thinning a little bit. It's going back a little bit now, but the hair off my dome, or the sunlight off my dome, was blinding him in the light. So that was a funny little story from a friend of mine who was ribbing me a little bit from Alberta, as we're sitting there having a few beers in the sunshine on a Friday afternoon. It was a great time. You can't do it all the time, but if you find a way to worm your way down there, if you got some disposable income, I highly recommend it. It was well worth the spending money, everything else that I had. Another tip I can give you guys about Yankee Stadium is save yourself a couple of bucks. There is a lot of places. The only thing that I buy every time I go, I've been 9 times now. I think it was COVID put a little. I was on a good run there, but COVID put a stretch where we couldn't go for a couple of years, but we went back down this year. The only thing I ever have bought inside the stadium for a souvenir is I get a hat every time I go. They're all back over here down in the tavern over my shoulder. It's bad radio if people listen on the podcast accounts, but every time I go, I get a hat at like inside the stadium, and it's marked inside. I got the 2017 hat on tonight, but every time you go, buy your stuff across the street. There's like 4 or 5 different places that sell it at about 65 to 70% of the price that it is inside the stadium. And it's all the exact same stuff. It's all licensed stuff. Yes, there is some knockoff things that you probably should stay away from, but that's my advice to you, to save yourself a couple of bucks and get yourself something outside of the park. If you're going to get a jersey or a hat or a t-shirt or whatever, they got everything you could possibly imagine. Stands Baseball Land, there's a place there, and so that's a like. So that's the one one of my recommendations when you do go to Yankee Stadium and the whole bit. But it's such a great time, and I'm kind of getting a little bit poetic here about it, and waxing poetic in my head about the different times I've been down there. For those of you who are listening to this show later on after it's off of YouTube, I want you guys to tell me your Yankees. If I'm telling Yankee Stadium the way you guys do it or the way other people do it, I'd like to know other people's stories, because the way I do it seems pretty cool and pretty fun. It hasn't failed me yet, but there's a lot of fun things to do around the stadium. You can go to the old ballpark. It's still there. Me and my brother played catch there in 2019. We brought our gloves there, and I was in the pitcher's mound the whole bit, throwing to Mike, and he was left-handed catcher, which is a little bit weird, but there's so much to do and so much to see. The big bat's still there. The old meet me at the bat story from back when it was back at the old stadium, right? When you meet at the bat prior to a game, there was always somebody who knew what you're doing, and they have different little not kaleidoscopes, but I can't remember what they're called, where you look through the window of the I can't remember what they're called. It don't much matter. But it shows you the view of what the old place would be and who would have been playing that position and everything else. No, if for a Yankee fan, if you haven't gone, make sure you go someday to Yankee Stadium and see it, because it's something to behold, and it's a fantastic little spot. We'll talk about maybe like post game things to do. Maybe we'll talk about my favorite moments at Yankee Stadium, where I think they're going to finish the season off, and everything else right after this break from our friends at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
This part of the show is brought to you by Manscaped and Manscaped.com. Use promo code 1420SCAPED at Manscaped.com and save yourself 20% and get free shipping at Manscaped.com today for all of your men's personal grooming needs. Thank you very much to SeatGeek or to Manscaped for being a sponsor of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Make sure you guys support our shop, our sponsor, because it helps us do all these crazy things that we want to do. Anyways, the game gets over. You're done. You had a good time. The game's going. Hopefully the Yankees win. Sinatra's playing in the background. I don't know why they play Sinatra when they lose. I think it's ridiculous to play your victory song or whatever song your team loses. Play something different. Play New York Groove. I know I think it's a Mets song, but play something different. There's enough songs about New York City that they don't have to play New York, because it's a celebratory song. Don't play Yankee people. Find out who Yankee people are and get them to change that. But anyways, post game, make sure you pick up a beer. In about the seventh inning, they shut down. It used to be the fifth inning in some seats, but I think it still is in the bleachers. Actually, the fifth inning they shut down beer sales, but make sure you have a beer to watch the end of the game. And that's a rookie maneuver if you don't, because if the game goes to extra innings, you don't have a beer in your hand. But make sure when the game's over, you have one in your hand. Let the place empty out, because it empties out actually not too bad. You squeeze 47,000 people inside there. It can take a little bit long someplace, but the place files up pretty quick. A lot of people go on the subway really quick, go back to Manhattan, go to wherever they're from, and they're home and they're gone. They're out of your hair. A lot of people end up going out and having a good time, and this is where Billy's really gets rocking. I've only been in there maybe once or twice post game, so I can't make a big thought about this. But what I always like to do is after a game, I go to stands first. Okay, you go to stands and it's always packed. But on the way through, make sure you pick up a T-shirt from Bald Vinny and his house of tees. You don't want to carry that throughout the game. You want to carry it afterwards. Vinny's T-shirts are all $20. They're all his own designs, everything else, and the whole support local thing. But he's got some really fun T-shirt designs. The thumbs down one, I still have that one. I got a Yogi Berra one. I got a bunch of different ones. I think I got every one. The Bleacher Creatures one I have. I got a New York hoodie from him. I always get a shirt from Vinny. He's got the Boston Sucks one. So he's got a bunch of or Boston Sucks cock. I got that one too. So I got them all from Vin. So Vinny, thank you very much for all the laughs and smiles. And I have a bunch of pictures of Vinny from me, my sister, and my brother down here in the tavern for people when they come down to visit. Who's that guy? And I tell them the story about Bald Vinny. So make sure you pick up a T-shirt from Bald Vinny when you're going over to stands, because it's right there in front of Billy's. So then you go to stands, have a couple of beers. The party atmosphere always. I don't like it a whole bunch if the Yankees have lost a game. That's a great big party. You shouldn't mourn because there's a game tomorrow, right? But it's always, it seems like it's a great big party, and I guess you go to that many games, you can't take it to heart too much. But anyways, so you have a couple beers back at Billy's. The subway's still getting a little bit full, so you want to stay away from that a little bit. So then what you do is we sit down at the tavern. It's still a little bit busy, but it has wound down a little bit, so it's not too bad. So you have a couple beers in there. Sounds like we drink a lot of beer there, but it's American beer, so it's a little bit different, right? So you have a couple there, but then before you go back to Manhattan, before you get back on the subway, what I like to do is you go to this place right across the street. It's called U.S. Chicken. They have food it's unbelievable, and the price is cheap. But we always pick up about 2 or 3 gyros or 4 gyros, depends how many people are with us. When you get some gyros for the trip back to Manhattan, for that half-hour subway ride back to the city, I guess. I don't know. I think the whole thing's one big city. But you pick up a couple gyros, and you get back on the subway, and you go home, and you pound gyros into your head. And I want to say they're like $6 a piece, and it's the best thing. Maybe it's the beers talking after the game, but they're always a great post-game thing to have and to eat and everything else. It's always a fantastic bite to eat no matter what. My sister, she gave one of hers up a couple years back, and to some guy who he had a few too many pops throughout the night, and he wasn't going to make her. So Elaine's motherly instincts took over, and she gave one of her gyros to this young fella, and a bottle of water. And I think it might have saved his life, might have saved his trip anyways. He might have been able to go out a little bit that night because he wasn't looking too good. He was a little green for whatever reason. Too many shot skis at stands or at the dugout or at Billy's or wherever. But he was having too good of a time. But Elaine saved his life with a gyro from U.S. Chicken. So that's a strong recommendation for you. It's cheap, the food's good, it's quick and easy. It's right across the street from the Yankee Tavern. So what you do is you send somebody over. You can have one more beer, and then they'll come back with your gyros, and you head back to Manhattan. Right. So that's one of those maybe those lost moments. I don't know if there's other spots you guys go to, Yankee fans, but make sure you guys stop and tell me and let me know on our social media accounts if I'm doing this right. And please, if you want to come on and tell me your story on our stadium tour, you're more than welcome. We've done 11 of these now. I've got a few more booked for this week. So doing an interview with the Astros guy on Sunday. That one should be interesting. But anyways, let's get back to the tour. The way I see Yankee Stadium. Everybody always, like we talk about when you have guys on our show or on the show talking about their moment. It's usually a nothing game, about a nothing time. Sometimes it's just their first time being there. Sometimes it's just a different look, a different view of what goes on around the stadium or in the stadium you're at or who you were with or whatever it was. But the time I went with my sister was probably my favorite time. My brother was there obviously as well. He's been there the last three. No, he didn't come last time. He got married, right? So he's not allowed to go. I'm Trish. I'm kidding. But no, it was two back-to-back games against the Oakland A's, 2019. The Yankees won 2 days in a row. They got blown out the night before, 8-3, I think it was. The 2 walk-off home run games, two afternoon games in a row, a Saturday and a Sunday. I was there with my sister. We were sitting in section 103, like I said, and we part of roll call the whole bit. And roll call happens in 203, I know, but we were part of that the whole bit. Sitting in row 10, section 103, and there was home runs, walk-off home runs back-to-back. The one day with DJ LeMahieu broke a Judge tied it in the 8th, I think it was. Yeah, Judge tied it in the 8th. LeMahieu hit a home run in the 9th to win it. And funny little story, my brother had a long night at Rosie O'Grady's, like I said earlier on. He was there quite late the night before, having a good time. We were getting into her, and the game was a little bit long, and Mike was sitting down in the sun and everything else, and he closed his eyes, and he had a little nappy poo. I didn't notice till after the fact, but his eyes were closed, but he heard the crowd roar when LeMahieu made contact, and the ball already left the ball field, and I'm jumping up and down, Elaine's jumping up and down, and then Mike, the delayed reaction. I've watched it on MLB.com a few times, and you see Mike, the delayed reaction about it. He jumped up, and he was having he was enjoying it, and the crowd was going crazy. Sinatra was playing. It was great. The next day was even better. A's were up 4-0 in the 8th inning. We were sitting out there having just Yankee fan bitching, right? Not complaining, just bitching. Losers can't hit. Fuck this. Blah blah blah. So we were sitting out there having a blast in the whole bit, and just mad that they weren't winning. And then the 8th inning. Things started happening. Gardy tied it with a 3-run shot, I think it was, in the 8th, or might have been the 9th. It doesn't matter. And then Mike Ford, I don't know if Yankee fans remember him. He wasn't around very long, but Ford home run into the right field bleachers to win the ball game. And then Sinatra came on again, so we saw back-to-back home runs, walk-off home runs 2 days in a row, and it was something to behold. And it was just one of those memories. And it's like I finish off 14:20 in the morning every day. It doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. And that was one of those moments that I knew who I was with, and two of the people I care about the most in this world. It was something to behold. And it was a moment I'll never forget, those back-to-back days. And we had a great time, went to Manhattan, went to a Who show that Saturday night and everything else. And then Sunday we went to another ball game. Then Monday we went to Coney Island. It rained. That's another story for another day. I haven't seen it rain like that in my life anywhere I've lived. So but that was something to behold. And that was kind of that's my Yankee Stadium moment, and it's something it's gonna take a lot to break that one. Even though, like, if I was to witness a World Series championship or something, and that's something we'll talk about maybe in half a second here. But it's those moments that it's where you are, it's who you're with, not where you are, right? And it's gonna take something, like I said, like something pretty pretty amazing. Like even a World Series championship, I don't think will beat that moment, because that was something to. It was just one of those heartfelt moments that you'll never forget, and you smile about. And now because you can take pictures so often, we have that picture down here. It's actually, I think it's my personal Facebook picture, my Facebook account. It's on there right after the game, sitting in 103. So it's one of those moments that you'll never forget. And it's, like I said, it's going to take some time to top that. Have some other ones, but we're getting a little bit long here. I know people don't like anything past 45 minutes to an hour, so we'll kind of start wrapping this one up. There's my Yankee Stadium tour memories, stuff to do around the park, stuff that I think everybody should see if you're a drinker, non-drinker, how to get to the park, how to, like, things to maybe stay away from. Go and see everything you can see. Manhattan's great. It's not intimidating at all. Like I was scared the first time I went, but it's not that bad. People are friendly. They'll tell you where to go. No, shouldn't say that. Don't where to go and how to get there. They'll give you assistance on how to get where you want to go on a minute-to-minute basis. It's a great place, the greatest city in the world. And like I said, the Manhattan, it's close to all the stuff. So stay there and keep that place open, because I like going there. I like staying there. It's one of my favorites. Favorite parts of the big ballpark in the Bronx, and the big city, and the Big Apple. And I still haven't really figured out why they call it the Big Apple. It's one of those things, I guess. So where to sit and everything else, Yankee Stadium, sit where you want. Everybody has their own spots, but like I said, if you can sit out in 203, there is some obstructed seating in Yankee Stadium. Like, stay out of the judges' quarters. Stay out of, like, they're bad seats. Really, you can't see things in some places, so don't sit in the judges' quarters. And in some of the newer areas where there's standing room, $10 to get in or whatever it is. You can't see a lot, but it's $10, so you can get there early out in center field. There's lots of great spots you can stand to watch a game in the sun too, and the bars out there are a lot of fun. And there's vendors everywhere. The best thing you can possibly eat. I know whenever we have guys on the show to talk about their ballpark, we always say, don't talk about getting popcorn and hot dogs. But honest to God, the popcorn at Yankee Stadium is second to none. Like, Deanne's a popcorn connoisseur. That popcorn at Yankee Stadium this summer, I don't know, it just had the right amount of butter, the right amount of salt, and it was the right temperature. It was fantastic, man. Like, it was unbelievable how good that popcorn was. I know popcorn shouldn't be the best thing to eat. People like the chicken buckets. I find them a little bit pricey, and I don't eat chicken fingers here, so why would I eat chicken fingers anywhere else? I don't know. It's just a weird thing, but there's always pizza and everything else in the stadium. So lots of food to eat, lots of things to drink, lots of different cocktails. They have the margaritas. Elaine got a margarita glass there that she still uses to this day whenever she gets her libations going a little bit. So Yankee Stadium, it's not the best ballpark, but it's my favorite ballpark, and maybe it's because my favorite team. But I love going there. I made some great friends over the years around there, and people you see even after that 2-year hiatus where I couldn't go there because of the COVID situation, but you go there a couple years later and people remember you and a smile on their face, and you can have a conversation with some people that missed my company just as much as I missed there. So Yankee Stadium, cheers to you, and I hope to see you guys again this summer. I'll go there this summer, guaranteed. I'll be there this summer to reenact all these things I just talked about. Maybe I'll see Jim from Fan of the Van there. Thought I'd get that last swig of beer in there before the commercial is over. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped and Manscaped.com for sponsoring the show. Make sure you guys go there. Use promo code 1420SCAPE at Manscaped.com. Man, I thought I'd get that swig of beer in there, but I couldn't get her in. Anyways, it's prediction time. We do this. Everybody has their thoughts of what's going to happen. Is the chase for 28? Is it possible? Anything's possible at this time of year. Like we said, yes, you're talking to Scott Belford of the Walk-Off podcast. So this time of year, everybody has a chance and the like. So prediction time for the New York Yankees. I don't know. It's going to be tough. The American League is tough. The Jays are tough, and I don't know if anybody has done anything to unseat the world champion Houston Astros. They still got that a hell of a team there in Houston. It's to beat to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? And that's one of those things that's going to be really tough. I like the acquisitions from last year. I like that Bader kid a lot. He's a hell of a player. He's a gamer. He plays center field. He plays the game the right way. He's got some power, got some pop in his bat. Hit a couple home runs in the playoffs last year, and I think he's a great center fielder. I think he can play, like, he plays the game the right way, and he really enjoys playing. And I think he's a New York kid, so he kind of has a tie to the Bronx. Rodon, he got put on the IL today. He going to end up Carlos Rodon. They gave him a big contract, 26 million bucks. It don't matter how much they gave him, but he's out until, I don't know, probably the second month of the season with a forearm strain. I wish they would say something that's not a forearm strain. The strain sounds like I hurt my back a little bit because guys go to work, but the pitching arm, I get it and the like. But so Rodon's out for a little bit. Is that a bit of a blessing to give him a little more rest to get into the playoff race? I don't know, because of the old saying that I use all the time: you can't win the World Series in April, but you can sure lose it. And the way the Yankees got off that great start last year, that helped them a lot down the stretch, because they struggled a lot near after the All-Star break last year. The only thing that kept them going was that big lead that they accumulated, and Aaron Judge on his tear. Rizzo is going to have I think he's going to have a better year this year. He had a really good year last year. You can see 35 to 40 home runs because they're not going to pitch to Judge as much. So I think you're going to see Rizzo see a lot more pitches to hit this year. And with the no shift rules, that might help out Rizzo with that short porch out in right field. So I expect Rizzo to have a better year this year. He had a really good year last year. He's a great first baseman defensively. I like Rizzo a lot. He's got that endearing smile too, so I quite like him. I really like Gleyber Torres. I don't know why the Yankees are trying to get rid of him. I don't know what the deal is with why they want to say goodbye to him, but it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't say he's an elite player, but they gave up so much to try to get him back in 2016, I think it was. The Chapman deal, and Chapman came back and the like. But I think that Gleyber Torres is going to have a bounce back year. He's going to have a really good year for the Yankees. He's a smooth second baseman. I think he hits for power. See his strikeouts going down this year. He's going to have a very good year. Their pitching staff. Look, let's go around the infield. I don't know what they're going to do at third base. I would play DJ LeMahieu at third base as long as he can stay healthy. He is getting a little bit older, but no matter what they do, he's better than Donaldson. Donaldson's years are past him. He's a nozzle. I think that Donaldson's time for him to go. It's I don't see him lasting. They'll buy him out or pay him out or release him around July, and he'll end up in Toronto, hopefully going back home to where he had some great successful careers in an MVP season 2015, I think it was, and he can go back there and finish off his career. I think it's time for Mr. Donaldson to take off, but he's a $26 million price tag is pretty tough, but he had a rough go of it last year, and that's smiling last year in the playoffs. He didn't make any fans, and I'm not a fan of him of his at all. I hope they can go him, but so DJ can stay healthy. I think they'll be okay. Higashioka, I'm not sure about him behind home plate. He's serviceable. He's okay. I don't know how much he's going to play. The other guy that I quite needs really like Trevino behind the plate too. Trevino's good. He had an all-star season last year. I think he's going to take a step back just because that's what guys actually end up doing. I don't know if he's as good as his numbers showed last year, but maybe that's just the Yankee fan talking. But I think that he's got a situation there where he's going to have a decent year. And whatever offense you get from a catcher nowadays, that seems to be just a bonus thing. Left field, that's where we struggle. Hicks had a bad run, man. He's had a bad run for a long time. The only time Hicks has ever been good was 2000. Oh, what year was that? 2018, I think it was. We were there July long weekend. We were there the first. It was a Sunday, the 1st of July, 2017. Now I remember this. Hicks hit 3 home runs on Sunday Night Baseball against the Boston Red Sox, and that's the last time he's done anything for this team. Hicks, I don't know. They gave him $10 million. He was a serviceable guy. You thought you get a lot more out of him, but he hasn't come through. But they're going to try him out there again. I miss Gardy. Obviously, Gardy's not coming back. I mean, that's just nostalgia talking. But he's been out of the game for a couple of years now. So you you would have liked to see Gardy get the proper send off, but he's not coming back. He's not going to be riding off in the sunset, winning a world championship and getting number 28, which I hate that saying, chase for 28, because they won a bunch of World Series when there was 10 teams, but whatever. I don't use that with other fans at all. But that side of the infield, I'm not too worried about. Or I am worried about their shortstop Peraza. I guess is going to be the guy to start the season off there. Volpe apparently is having himself a hell of a spring training. I haven't watched a ton of games yet this year, Yankee games. I've watched a lot of other games, so I'll watch a lot of Yankee games as the season progresses, obviously. But their pitching staff, it's too bad Rodon went down early. I don't like that a whole bunch. Cole will get his 15 to 16 wins. He'll be okay. He'll give up home runs. He's a great pitcher. Or actually, he's really, really good. I wouldn't say he's great. And I know the Michael K show, they say he's really great, but I think that he's really, really good. And it's one of those things you just don't know where that's going with Cole. You just don't know what you're going to get night in, night out. But I expect him to be that guy to get, like I said, 15 wins and eat up innings and the whole bit. But it's one of those things you just don't know what you're going to get. Is he the guy you want in a playoff round deciding game? I don't know. I like Severino coming back healthy. I like him a lot. I've always liked Severino. I expect him to have a big year. He can stay healthy. I know they saved him last year a little bit. He had that no-hitter going in the 7th, I think it was, and he's in a situation now where he can step up because he's playing for the big contract and the like. So you look for him to have a big year. Nestor Cortez, a bit of a question mark for me. I can't see him being as dominant as he was. Maybe he will be. I hope he will be. But you just see those guys who come out of nowhere. And they come out of nowhere for a reason, right? Another guy that you shouldn't cheer for if you're the what happened with Domingo Herman, but maybe they put that behind him and everything else. And he took his counseling course. So hopefully he isn't doing that kind of crap anymore with he had the abuse thing, but Domingo Herman is a hell of a pitcher. But so they got 3 or 4 arms out there. It's too bad. Like I said, Rodon went down. So I don't think pitching is going to be the problem. It's just they got to get the strikeouts down, but strikeouts are up right across the league. Will the different rules help the Yankees? It's hard to say with the shift and everything else. I haven't seen the shift make a big difference, but DJ LeMahieu has to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing for me. If LeMahieu can stay healthy, I think they got a real shot at doing some damage in the playoffs and getting to making the playoffs and having a spot there. But that's the biggest thing. It's going to be a tough year. It's not tough. I think they'll win the division. I really do. The Jays are really good, but I think they're a year away, and it's going to be a battle. But I think the Yankees will win the division. I was not too sure about it before, but you got the closer with Cole and or Holmes. Sorry, you got Holmes and maybe Johnny Lasagna, John Loizaga teaming up a little bit there. But if you have 2 closers, you don't have one. So you go with Holmes to start it off. Loizaga, a hell of a pitcher, so he might be the guy that might overtake that closer situation for the Yankees because he throws hard and he's getting better every night out. So I think that's a guy and every year he's around. So I don't think the bullpen is going to be a problem. I just think the left side of the infield is a problem, with nobody hitting the baseball. And if DJ can stay healthy and stay in the game, then I think the left side will be fine. But that's the biggest question mark is Hicks out there, and keeping Donaldson off the field is a must. And that's something that's got to happen, not early, but it has to happen early and often for the Yankees to have a successful year. World Series, I don't want to say yeah because there's always a shot, but I don't want to say no because there's always a shot, right? And it's going to be tough. Like I said, do they win a World Series? I think they actually end up playing, this is going to sound crazy, I think they actually end up playing the Toronto Blue Jays in the American League Championship Series. The Jays, for some reason, I think they scare me a little bit, but that Manoah is something else to be. He's a pitcher, man. He can go out there game 1, 4, and 7 and win all 3. So that's kind of my thought, is it's going to be a Jays, Yankees, ALCS, which will be great for baseball in Canada. People hate the Yankees. People love the Jays, so that'll be a lot of fun. So I won't make a prediction on that, but I think it's going to be a Jays, Yankees American League Championship Series, and I think that the for whatever reason it's going to happen this year. It'll be a lot of fun for baseball across the country, and for me, and people will be able to razz me and everything else. I enjoy it. Anyways, there's my long-winded tour of Yankee Stadium and where to go and how to get there and and everything else, and where to sit, where to eat, and obviously where to have some beers. That's part of the best thing. And make sure you go to the old place and walk around there out on the field free of charge. You walk around and you can pretend you're Babe Ruth running the bases, or Mariano or Jeter or whoever your person is, right? So it all happened right there, right across the street at the big ballpark in the Bronx. And the Ghosts haven't all come across the street yet, but eventually they have to. They don't have to. Look, ask the Cleveland Indians. They haven't won a World Series in about 85 years, but it's a great place. I love going there. And like I said, don't have our plans yet when we're going to get down to the big ballpark in the Bronx again, but you'll if you see me there this summer, make sure you come and spill a beer with me. We'll have a bullshit and we'll laugh about this crazy show and this venture that we're on. Anyways, it's great. It's a lot of fun. Baseball season's right around the corner. The World Baseball Classics games are rolling already. The North American ones start on Saturday afternoon, I think it is. So watch those ones. That'll be a lot of fun. Baseball season's right around the corner. It's my favorite time of year, spring training. So it'll be a lot of fun to get that going and keep our show up and running. Thank you everybody who listens to the show. Thank you everybody who's been watching on YouTube tonight. We appreciate it. And if you didn't watch on YouTube, thank you very much for listening to the show. Make sure you guys share this with people. Talk about what's going on. Share this with Yankee fans or people who are planning to go to Yankee Stadium this summer. There's a few little tips that they can grasp onto to make their trip a little more enjoyable. But anyways, take care of each other. More importantly, take care of yourselves and eat around. Keep your stick on the ice, and I don't want to see my main man Jim swinging at any high pitches. Have a good night, folks, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.